Good morning, James Chapman, the dolphin with eyebrows, the man with a full head of curly ass hair, ready to get after it this week. What's going on, man?
I mean, it's curly, but I don't know about a full.
I mean, it's definitely a
That's
full head of hair, pal.
yeah, I mean, that's that might be a little bit of a stretch.
I mean, it looks like it's a full head of hair.
Mm. It's not looking bad today. I'm having a good hair day.
It looks good.
Yeah. Says from the man who looks like he's got, I mean, just luscious locks on top of that head. What are you growing on your face there, dog?
Wow, I shouldn't have done that to my hair. Yeah, dude, this is I got a wedding this weekend, so I got
Just
pictures to be in.
yeah, a little trash stash. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I almost shaved it this morning, dude. You ever get to the point where you're just like, dude, this thing has got to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at that stage, and I went to go shave it this morning. And Carla was like, "No, I like it." I was like, "Huh."
Good. Danielle hates mine. I was about to grow mine. I started growing mine last week. And she was like, just because I had COVID. She's like, I literally have not been able to kiss you or anything for however long now. Can you at least just shave and then you do whatever you want after? You know, your lady needs some smooches. She needs some smooches. She wanted a smooth face for some smooches. So,
hey,
I obliged, but I'm about to start growing mine for the winter.
yeah, you may as well. You know, we got to keep that upper lip in the sweater.
Yeah.
Although I like to keep mine off the lip. You know,
Yeah.
I like to trim it up, make sure it looks real tight.
I like mine to get a little long. So every time I drink something, I can go give me an
Yeah.
extra little taste,
Yeah,
especially if it's a nice ice cold beer.
yeah.
That's
For
my
me,
favorite.
it's for me. It's I like it when the water touches it, and then I can just, you know.
Yeah. I like it when there's a little ice cold beer left in my mustache.
Yeah, James, what do you think about facial hair in business? What do you think about it?
I don't think that shit matters. It's just whatever.
Yeah. I've come to the conclusion things have kind of evolved, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just comes back to being just squared away. I mean, you could have freaking chops, you could have goatees, you could have whatever. You can have a mullet. Just make it clean and be put together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I think sometimes people confuse those kind of things with then looking like trash, and you just can't look like trash. Clean shave, not clean shave, tattoos, not tattoos, piercings, not piercings, any of that stuff. You know, have your teeth brushed, have your stuff squared away and clean, and then lastly, know your shit.
Yep. I think that's first
You
thing.
know?
The reason I bring that up, I was watching the old Instagram reels the other day, and there's this guy who's got like, I mean, this man is tattooed. When I say tattooed, he's got tattoos on the face. He's got, you know, and I'm not talking about just like cool tattoos. I'm talking about he's got like half of his head is just blacked out. Like it's just like you ever seen a blacked out tattoo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got that like half his head. Guess what he does for a living?
What's that?
He's a contractor. And his work is amazing. But he looks like somebody off the freaking like a Batman villain is what he looks like.
I mean, I'm sure that probably cost him jobs.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess at the end of the day, like, what are you going to live with? Like, some people are going to judge you. So, like, to what level are you okay with that?
That's the truth.
I want people to do good work. I want to see good work. And I want to see caring people who try to make a difference in my organization. I got people with tattoos all over them. I got people with piercings, more than the norm. And like I don't do I got a good quality person who cares about what they're doing. Now, if I had a marketing rep probably out there as the face of the company, I'd probably want to see some what's the term I'm looking for? Maybe some reservation in how far they go with certain things.
That's
You
true.
know, but I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, I mean, that may be bad, but like if somebody walks in here and their face is covered in tattoos, I'm going to, there's going to be, that would be a tough one for me. Like somebody wanting to come work for me.
Yeah.
You know, they better have a hell of a story. They better have a hell of a story, and they better have a record to back. Like, hey, this was me when I was young. I did some really stupid stuff, and here's what I do now, and here's how I'm a freaking beast. Okay. All right. Then let's see what you got.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, hey, I just got this last week. I'm gonna go, man, what's this person's decision-making abilities?
Yeah.
You know, I'm just being honest, man. I mean, that may be biased, but I mean, that's the world we live in. I mean, you just gotta, you know, just the way it works.
Yeah.
I don't want somebody who's the most prettiest, well put together, just no blemishes on their skin, but they're a fucking miserable human being. I don't want them either.
Yeah. There's got to be some level of I guess give and take there, right?
Yeah, I want to see some common sense, you know? Like
Yeah.
I want to see some common sense. That's really what I want.
Yeah. I get that. I get that 100%.
You get common sense, I can teach you a lot of other stuff.
Yeah. There was something I heard the other day was hire for personality and culture, train skill.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know that
And I
person's
think we
gonna
have a
come in.
problem, you know, we got a lot of people who, you know, like right now, they talk about how it's tough to hire. And I think there's certain pockets of this where there's different reasons, right? Just maybe their industry and what they normally hire. Like I think there's a lot of people who used to be servers, you know, work in restaurants and stuff who don't want to do that anymore because they can go find better paying, better hour jobs. So I get like there's struggles on that side of the industry. Like there's pockets where it makes sense, or there's certain skill sets and people just don't have it and they have to have that skill set. But you know, I've not had an issue hiring people because I look back to the quality of person I think I'm hiring, not how much they know about insurance. And if they got some knowledge, that's a positive. But I'm just trying to hire good people, and then I'm focusing on my training program, how I bring them in, and my culture, and how I make it a better environment where people want to work here.
That's it. That's it. It's about what are you bringing to the table as an employer,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah,
mean, there are going to be people who don't want to show up on time. There are going to be people who are a little bit slack ass, right? You're going to have those, but I think if to for long term movement in a company, you've got to be able to bring something to the table as an employer.
hell yeah. I mean, like, think about if you closed your company tomorrow and you went to work for somebody.
Yeah.
What would you want? You wouldn't just take some ragtag job or some bullshit. You would want to know you got a future there.
Hmm.
Your future, you looking at the future compensation would be important, but it just wouldn't be just the out the gate compensation. You have needs that got to be met, but you would be thinking about, okay, is this a company I want to work for? Do I like this guy I'm sitting here, or the lady I'm sitting here talking to that's going to be my boss? Are they an asshole? Like, are they cocky or just whatever? Like, is this somebody who's going to work to develop me? I'd want somebody who is better than me that I know can develop me and make me better. You know what I mean? Like things like that would be some of the key things I would look for.
Yeah. And you and I have had this conversation in the past. Like we would be hell on wheels as a number two, right?
Oh, there
Not
ain't no doubt.
right. Not having to deal with all the overhead, not having to deal with all the extra stuff that a business owner has to deal with. And you have to
Mm-hmm.
come in and you just have us do a specific situation. That would be that would be a whole different level of trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And you know, I mean, that was like me talking about this new merger that I did. I mean, one of the beauties is that we're dividing up some of those ownership responsibilities so we can go deeper, not wider, you
Yeah.
know, and it's already making a change on how I'm looking at things and how they're looking at things so we can expand even farther, you know. So there's no doubt about that. Number two, or getting yourself in a position where you hire good quality people that can take over those tasks, or having partnerships where other people, I mean, people are managing their own tasks. I mean, that's that shit's powerful because you can't be good at everything. But like I said, I mean, if a lot of times the people are telling me they have trouble hiring is either because they got a niche skill set they need, and maybe they're just budget restraints of the size of company they are trying to compete with much larger companies. Like I get some of that stuff, but when it's regular, like standard, just I can't find people, like either you're not looking hard enough or you just are not appealing to people, because when they come in for an interview, you forget that an interview is two-way street. I don't care if they got zero experience, you're gonna have to dump a ton of time on them, and it's an entry level position. Like you're not appealing to them.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was another book that I read. Goodness, I don't remember what it was, but it was about a janitorial company, and something that they were having a hard time was retention. They were having a hard time with retention. And they, broke down the books and they said, we're the highest paying janitorial service there is. How are we having a hard time with retention? Right? Nobody was showing up on time. Nobody was, there'd be days where people just weren't coming in and whatever it might be. And what they ended up doing was looking and giving a survey saying, hey, what do you want out of us as your employer, as this company, and you're a member of this company? What is it that you want from us? Right? They were expecting more pay, right? What the answers they got was a way to get to work. They were based out of like a small city, or a city. They were inner city, and people were having to get some sort of transportation to get to work, right? Not everybody had cars, even though they were the highest paying. And so what they realized was they just needed to get some sort of a transportation service to be able to drop people off at the actual company. And so they put that in place. Then they put in benefits, because they started answering the questions that they got back on the survey. And guess what happened?
Retention went up.
Retention went up massively because they saw that the company was caring about the workers.
Yeah.
Right. Where they were throwing money at problems, they just needed to solve problems. Right. Yeah. And what are we as owners?
Problem solvers.
Problem solvers. And so how can you solve a problem that you don't know about?
Yeah.
So something to take a massive tip out of there was, ask your folks what they want, because it's not always going to be about money. At a certain amount, things kind of just fade out.
Yeah.
So that's a cool little note that I was able to take from that book was, just ask your folks what they need or what they want. They're going to tell you.
Yeah.
And it's not always just more pay.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. I mean, they got to be somewhere where they feel cared about.
Yeah. And so by doing that, you don't have to go out and just be, crazy with it, but by simply just asking your folks, like, hey, we're having a hard time with retention. We're having a hard time people showing up on time, right? So how do we fix that? We start asking an anonymous survey. What do you guys need from us?
Yeah.
Bing, bing, bing. Transportation to work. How, nobody would have thought about that.
Yeah. And I think that also, goes back into retention of customers. Mm-hmm. You got good people working for you, and then they're taking pride. They take pride in the place they work at, and they take pride in their work. Yep. And then, your customers see better results or better service. Your customers stay longer. Like it all really goes back up to you and how you're making the company for your people. That all falls back down. I mean, I tell the people who work for me, I'm like, look, you take care of the customer, I take care of you. Mm-hmm. So, sometimes one of the biggest things I can do is, it's just a fact of life. I mean, you work with so many customers, you get customers that are assholes. It happens. And sometimes they're justified in being pissed off. And if they are, You validate that and you take care of them. But I mean, dude, like, man, we had this one guy. He was like an alcoholic. I mean, I'm sure he was an alcoholic because he would call us in the middle of the day, drunk off his ass, and he was slurring his words. He could barely speak. And he'd call us about something, and then he'd start calling some of my ladies in the office sweeties and honeys, and like trying to start talking like really rude to them and stuff. And when they would come to me with that, I handled that shit. I called that guy and was like, hey, I'm going to make this really simple for you. My people don't want to talk to you no more because you're rude, you're hateful, you'll cuss them out. And then you'll also, talk completely inappropriate to them in like a sexual manner. That's not okay. So if they won't talk to you, guess what happens? Now I have to talk to you, and I'm going to be real with you, man. That's not what I do here, and I don't have time for that. So either you're going to call and apologize to this person you just did this to, and you're going to act right from here on out, or you're going to have to take your business somewhere else. Plain and simple. And let me tell you something, that built a ton of value for the person that works for me because frankly, she fucking deserved that.
Yeah.
I right there showed her, like, I expect her to care about money, but also care about the mission, not just money, right? Working for me. Well, how would it look if I showed her completely opposite? Hey, fuck our culture, fuck who we are. All that matters is that client paying that money. That money's more important than the way the situation's going down. Do you think that would be contradictory of what I tell her?
Mm-hmm.
So I went to bat. I made the phone call and took care of that shit.
Yeah.
And he got one warning, and he did. He apologized. Then he went back and he did it again. A couple months later, drunk, calls in, does some stupid shit. So I called him. I said, "Hey man, you're fucking done. You're done. You don't get to work with my company anymore." Because I care about my people more than I care about him.
Yeah. And that's going back to not only company culture, but that there's a set of core values that you have instilled to your company personally and for whatever that other person's core values are, right? And
Yeah.
when core values are in line with what your actions are, you're moving correctly, right? The moment that you would have stepped out and you said, our core values are here, right? But money is here, right? And that's not aligned, then you have a problem, right? And then that person probably would have left you because they're like, look, he don't care.
Yeah, he didn't care. It's all about the buck. He tells me just to swallow my pride and my feelings and all this stuff. And there's, and then that also goes back to what if somebody comes in your office and they're pissed off, one of your employees, and they're frustrated and it's valid, right? Like, if you don't give them a chance to hear them out and then work through it, then why would they give a customer who's legitimately upset and calls in with the wrong tone that it makes them think they have the right to just dismiss that customer?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that applies the same way. That goes back and forth. I mean, it's the same situation. You got to hear people out, man. You got to let them know you care. You don't do that, or when a client calls in pissed off, you don't try to validate them when you got to handle a situation. You roll your eyes, you breathe heavy. Like, they're going to think they can do all that same shit. They're emulating you. You seem lazy. You seem like you don't care if stuff's neat and tidy. They ain't gonna give a shit if stuff's neat and tidy. I mean, it's just none of that's gonna happen. You set that example.
That's right. That's right. What they're saying?
You got to risk it to get the biscuit.
No, the rock falls from the top. Maybe that's what the saying is, something like that.
No,
And either way,
never heard that one.
Yeah. I don't know. The rock rolls down the hill.
Oh.
I don't know where I'm going with this. Either way, at some point, the rock's got to start from the top of the mountain, and it's got to roll down the hill. It can't go the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So basically, make sure that your actions at the top are correct and moving correctly, because everybody below you is gonna be looking upward. Right.
Yeah.
And if that's not a saying, and I made that up, it's a perfect analogy for what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I
The
will tell you
rock
one
rolls
thing
down
I
the
had
hill.
to fix, and you'd be amazed at just the little nuances, just the little subtleties. So like one thing is we were improving our process here, we would see something and be like, hey, that's not part of the new process. Next time, don't do it that way. Instead of me going, hey, that's not part of the process. I know you didn't do it on purpose. All's good. I'm not mad or anything, but go ahead and fix it. I would say next time, do it this way. Well, it wasn't setting the right example. Things kept happening. Guess what? When I said, hey, no, go back and fix this one, and from here on out, do it that way too, that shit stopped happening less overall because they knew I wasn't going to just say, next time, do it that way. No, it was, we'll go back and fix that shit. Make it do it this way now because that's the way we want the process. So they have to always go back and fix it. Shit got better.
Back.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, cool, man. I think that's exactly where this one needed to go. James Chapman, it's
Yes, sir.
always a pleasure, man.
Yeah,
And
it is.
you have really grown your business to a new level, and I'm proud of you for that. Just wanted to make sure that was known throughout the world that I'm proud of James Chapman.
Thank you, sir. Hey, man, I'm proud of you, dude. You're over there crushing it. But look, man, small strides, big strides. Like, this has been, that's something that we always have to remember when we see somebody hit a good lick. How much pressure did they have to build up? How many little steps did they make? When you noticed them really far down the road, how many days were they making little steps and it felt like no progress, right? Yeah. That's all our businesses. That's what we do. If it's a little stride, it's a big stride. Like, take pride in that, stay focused, let it energize you, let it keep driving you forward. Because, man, there's people out there who are getting it in the silence, in the dark, like you don't even know it. And they're out there pounding away, trying to make it happen. Like, so be that person too. Be that person too, and take pride in what you do and how you push forward. So
I'm going to say something. It's going to be in Spanish, and I'm probably going to botch this.
probably.
But there's a reason I'm saying it, okay?
Yeah. You better count to 10 in Spanish. Nobody's going to be impressed by that.
It's Pasos Cortas Vista Largo, which means tiny steps, large mission. Completely botched it. That's probably completely wrong. Either way, the point of me saying this is it takes tiny steps to go a long way. Okay. And when you're in business, if you're at the top, if you're at the bottom, if you are in the middle somewhere and you're just middle management, it doesn't matter. It's little steps go a long way. And it's about how many steps can you take in that day, right? If it's one, it's one. If it's 10, it's 10. It doesn't matter as long as you're making some sort of a step forward and you're better than you were yesterday, right? If yesterday you were on your phone all day, you better start making some steps today.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
With that being
think
said,
about when we do these ruck marches, right? And we were sitting there practicing. We were doing all these practices to try to get better our ruck marches, improve our times, just improve our endurance.
Yes, sir.
Remember us talking about how, like, we would start off, we would take these big strides and our legs would start getting tired. And it was like, hey, man, let's shorten our stride. And just shortening our stride, we could go longer and have more endurance and not get as exhausted because you just weren't stretching as far. So literally shortening the stride a little bit helped us in massive ways, So these rucks, man, we're sitting there doing like 26 miles, whatever, like, just that little bit of shortening. I mean, it was like just probably 2-3 inches in shortening that stride made a huge difference in how long we could last in it, or how bad it was going to hurt doing it. So, we would keep a better pace, so man, dude, that's spot on.
And I didn't even make that one up.
You didn't even make that one up.
No. Sometimes the best stuff just comes from the top of my head. I'm telling you.
There you go. There you go. Hey, man, if it works for you, fuck everybody else.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, hey, with that being said, guys, we appreciate you so much. The podcast has grown from 4 years ago when James and I were just shooting the shit and no one was listening. And now we've got people listening from all around the country, all around the United States, and all around the world. I got to figure out how to put this in Russian so the Russian and the Ukrainians can hear us as well and understand what we're saying. Just in case anybody doesn't speak English, I want to I want to go ahead and I want to be able to have our subtitles in this podcast. So I'm going to work on that, James, and I'm going to make sure everybody knows James and Addison around the world until before we get to episode 250. Promise you that.
Yeah, so I'm over here just laughing at Addison. But when he says shit like that, he usually ends up doing it. So more power to you, bro.
Yeah, stand by to get some. I'm gonna look. I just got a new computer. I'm gonna put some stuff in there, and I'm gonna get us taken care of. We're gonna be speaking Spanish in no time, pal. Hey, with that being said, we appreciate you guys. I'm gonna make sure that we can get this to everybody who needs to hear it. And with that being said, do not forget to check out our sponsors. And when you do go check them out, they're going to be listed in the description. When you do go check them out, make sure you get to the end and put in at your little discount code just for you, grind 10, GRIND 1 to 0. That's going to get yourself 10% off if you get some of that good stuff.
Nice.
James Chapman, as usual, my friend, it is always a pleasure. A nice big hug to you. I appreciate you, and do what you do to this thing.
The feeling is mutual. Grinder out.